Good evening everyone, welcome to Bathurst for round number 4 of the Formula Track Stars series for 2023. I'll be your commentator tonight, I'm Jarman Dalitz. And it looks like we've got what should be an entertaining night of racing here. Of course, Bathurst being a favourite for many a driver, especially from Australia, and we've got plenty of Australians racing here tonight, so they'll all be eager to put on the best performance of the season and try and claim a win at their home track. So before we get underway with qualifying, we do have a bit of a track preview to show everyone on the stream. Hopefully everything worked right with the audio there, as it looks like they've jumped into qualifying by the looks of things. Not sure what's going on here. Yes, they already jumped into qualifying, but it looks like we've got a red flag already. So just a few issues here that will get sorted out before we get underway with qualifying. Don't see a lobby up at the moment. So we'll take a short break here quickly. We'll get some things organised and be back shortly with some racing action. Alright, so we're ready to go of qualifying here. 10-minute session to decide our starting lineup for today's race. We'll just run you through the field quickly. We've got Campbell in the number 12, CP Motorsports Honda-powered SF19. Of course, joining in from the second round onwards, so he's sitting down in 12th place at the moment in the standings. And then we have Ando representing WTCR Racing. He's sitting 4th in the standings at the moment. Been an impressive start for the WTCR team. And then we have Palmer, who's filling in for Blackman tonight in the It's Racing Esports entry. So this will be Palmer's debut for the 2023 season. And we have Kosterok in the number 55 ISA Esports. I believe that's a Toyota powered car. A stunning new livery there from the ISA Esports crew, as they debut a new look and a new sponsor. And it's Kosterok's teammate in Calypso in the 666 car. Of course, Kosterok sitting in 8th place in the championship. Calypso inside the top 10 as well. Then we have Trappett, our series leader, won all 3 races so far. He'll be looking for win number 4 in the MSR 45 Toyota powered car. And Von Duve, he's in the 117 WTC racing car. Of course, teammate Zando. Then we have Patasso in the number 32 Toyota powered MSR car. And then of course we've got Walker there in the 964 entry from WRT Motorsport. O'Shea in the second CP Motorsports car. He's sitting second in the championship at the moment with a 6-point gap over Patasso. And then we have Oldman in the 151 car, second WRT entry. And then from RoboSport Racing, we've got Harcourt in the number 22 entry. Brader in the, what number is he? He's the number 20 car. So yeah, first night for me commentating as well, so a bit rusty on these numbers as well. And then Lansdale sitting in the safety car at the moment. So first lap time's about to come in on this opening segment of qualifying. We're about 3.5 minutes into a 10-minute session. It'll be Ando coming around to be the first one to complete a flying lap. He'll come across the line 139 flat. Trappett second across the line. He goes to the top, 1/10 clear. Calypso only manages third. Fonduve only fourth. Walker jumps up to third on his first lap. Kosterok and O'Shea look like they're in the pits. Patasso comes across the line. Bit of a scrappy lap there. He'll be looking for better next time around. Oldman jumps up the 6. Harcourt up in the 3rd place as well with his lap. O'Shea jumping into the pits as well. Brader on an out lap. Likewise for Campbell. So let's ride on board quickly with Trappett. So he goes 2.5 tenths up on his 2nd lap. Ando jumps to the top with a fast time. He's 3 tenths up on Trappett at the moment, so this is looking like an enthralling battle for pole position here. Calypso up to 5th. Bonduve jumping up the 3rd, so the WTC racing cars certainly meaning business here tonight. Oldman jumping up to 7th place. It's an outlap. Another outlap. Let's see Brader coming around the corner now. Let's see what time he can produce. As he makes a run down the pit straight. And he jumps up the 2nd place, so front row start at the moment for him. Palmer coming across the line. He's only 9th place at the moment. Being said, he's been jumped as well, so I think Campbell's jumped up the order of 1:39.9, so just cracks underneath the 1:40 barrier. See if Trappett makes an improvement. Yes, he does. Straight to the top of the charts, 9 tenths of a second over Ando. And that time is certainly going to take some beating here. Let's see if Brader has any answer here. And he just eclipses Trappett's time, so he's on pole position so far. With about 2.5 minutes left in the session. Palmer jumping up the 5th as well. O'Shea in 3rd. We missed that one on the screen. He's only 5 tenths of a second off, or nearly 6 tenths actually. So we're getting towards the business end of the session. We're going to start seeing some fast times set down by a number of these drivers. So you see Trappett come around. Oh, it gets out of shape and into the fence. So that's going to put that lap to an end. And with 1:30 left and damage to his car, I don't think he's got enough time, so that's going to put his pole position charge to an end. So we can probably rule Trappett out of the fight for pole position. O'Shea up on his time, is approaching lap traffic event Bonduve. Will this affect his run to the finish line? He's got Brader close behind. Certainly looks like O'Shea has been compromised on this lap through no fault of Von Duve. Brader doesn't manage to go faster. Palmer jumps up the third place. And runs wide at turn 1, so he's not going to put down a fast lap time here. So Palmer into the pits, he's calling it a day for his session. What's Ando got in store on this lap? He's 0.17 faster. Looks like it could be an improvement here. Is it going to be enough to get him in the front 2 rows of the grid? Comes across the line 0.274 quicker, but still only good enough for 5th place. So that's his session to an end. Harcourt on his final lap. Brader off to the side. Shea doesn't look like he's improving. No improvement there from Harcourt. Let's see what Von Duve has as he comes across the line. No improvement there. Pitasso really hanging it out there. Is he going to make any improvement on his final lap? It doesn't look like it's the case. He's a full second down on his lap time, so he sits down in 8th place. Qualifying obviously not a strong suit for Pitasso, so he'll be looking to show some race pace. Campbell jumps up the order. He's up to 6th place. And that bumps Harcourt off of the 3rd row of the grid. So we'll give you a quick rundown of the qualifying results. It's Brader taking pole position by 0.04 of a second over Trappett. And then it'll be Palmer in 3rd place, O'Shea 4th. 3rd row will be Ando and Campbell. Then it'll be Harcourt and Von Duve on row number 4. Then we'll have Pitasso and Walker on row number 5. Row number 6 will be Costarock and Calypso. And then it'll be Oldman on the 7th row all by himself. We'll take a short break here and we'll rejoin you quickly before the race. So we'll give you a quick recap of qualifying results here. So it's Brader taking pole position by 0.041 over Trappett, and then 0.065 behind him. So less than a tenth covering the first three cars, with Palmer in third place. O'Shea sitting in fourth, just 0.23 back. Then we have Ando rounding out the top five. So first five cars covered by less than 7 tenths. And then in sixth place we've got Campbell, and then Harcourt in seventh, and Von Duve in the first half, what we'll call the first half of the field, first page. He's sitting in eighth place. Ninth place is Patasso. And then we've got Walker rounding out the top 10. And then our final three cars on the grid, Costa Rock, Calypso and Oldman, round out our field. So 3 minutes till the race start. In the meantime, might just run through the championship standings quickly with everyone. Of course, it's Trappett in the number 45 for Mash Spuds Racing, leading the way. 3 race starts, 3 race victories, 900 points to his total. And a 140 point lead over O'Shea representing CP Motorsports, who's sitting on 760 points. So he's nearly half a round behind after 3 races. And then further 6 points back, it's Patasso representing Mash Spuds Racing, of course, the MSR team, leading the way in the team standings as well. And then it's Ando in 4th place on 738. So he's about, I think, 16 points behind. And then on 690, it's Von Duve, Ando's teammate at WTC Racing. Of course, WTC, one of the new teams, off to a great start in the championship. They're sitting second in the team's championship, I believe, at the moment, so it's a good start for them. And then in 6th place, we have Brader in 648 points for Robbo Sport Racing. Then it's Walker on 646, so just 2 points separating those two. Walker, of course, representing WRT Motorsport. And then in 8th place, it's Costa Rock on 640, representing the ICE Racing Group, or an Intercontinental Esports Racing Group. Not sure what's going on here. Looks like we've got a bit of a freeze going on. Might just see if we have to jump out quickly and fix this. Alright, apologies for that, everyone. Looks like we've missed the race start here. So it's Breeder leading the way, Palmer sitting in 2nd place, Trappett in 3rd, O'Shea 4th, Von Duve 5th, Walker sitting in 6th, Harcourt in 7th, and then Patasso rounding out the top 8 on lap number 1. So Brader leading the field through to chase for the first time around, with Palmer in hot pursuit of him. Trappett off into the pits on lap number 1. So he's taken damage at the race start. That's not the start that he wanted. Likewise for Ando as well. He's dropping down the order and into pit lane 2. Palmer getting all out of shape in the background there as he heads through Griffiths Bend. He's lost a little bit of time there. Brader, of course, starting on the softs, Palmer on the hard tyres, so that could be something to keep in mind here. Palmer's taken damage himself, and that's going to bring him into the clutches of O'Shea. So it looks like Palmer's heading off to pit lane as well. So not the start of the race that he wanted, but that promotes O'Shea into second. And Von Duve close behind in third place. Just sitting a little further back is Walker in fourth, so nice run there from the WRT team. They're sitting up in fourth place early on in this race. Although just as I say that, Batasso's made the move and got around Walker, so he's up into fourth. And he's currently the one leading the charge for MSR in the opening laps of this race. So very much a seesawing affair at the start of this one. So 4 laps in, Brader leading O'Shea on Duvet, rounding out the podium so far. Tasso sitting in 4th, we'll scroll through the field a bit further, Walker in 5th. Campbell and Kosterok battling out for 6th place. Kosterok sitting in 7th. And then Calypso having both ISA Esports cars in the top 8. With their impressive new liveries. Oldman running in 9th at the moment. And then Trappett and Palmer in 10th and 11th. Ando sitting in 12th. And then Harcourt in 13th. got a car off? Yes, we do. So Campbell into the wall here at Forest Elbow. And that's going to give him damage early on. And that'll bring Trappett and Palmer into the equation. So Campbell into the pits. He'll be making his repairs. Of course, we've got Kaizen Tai enjoying the comfort of the safety car. Climate control on the Nissan GTR is very much excellent. Certainly can speak from experience about how well that keeps me cool during the races. Plenty of room for snacks as well. Of course, the aircon in this commentary box is going just as well. As Campbell comes back out on the track, he's 52 seconds down on the race leader at the moment. Only a few seconds back on Harcourt though. So Palmer and Trappett both on the recovery drive. And Palmer looks to be closing in on Trappett at the moment. Palmer looking for a move around the outside. Wash is a little wide though, doesn't quite have the grip on the outside line. And I think the aero wash just getting him there a little bit. He'll be hoping he can find another way around. He's certainly looking to make a move. It might be crucial in the grand scheme of things in this race. As these guys could be on a bit of a recovery drive and on a battle for positions towards the end of the race. It may not necessarily be 9th and 10th. It could be for a podium or maybe even a win if they show enough pace. That being said, Trappett now on the hard, so he's probably got a bit of an advantage here. Palmer would ideally be wanting to make a move ahead of him, get himself in some clean air and make the most of the tyre advantage. So Shea into the pits as well, he's taken some damage on. And he comes out right in this battle for the top 10 positions. As Palmer just edges ahead down Mountain Straight. As O'Shea comes up the speed, he's tucked in behind Palmer into 10th place. Now it sort of becomes a freeway battle here, or four-way effectively, as we can't discount Old Man, of course. He's very much racing for position and under no obligation to yield. As Palmer looking for a way past. Not sure whether there was contact there between the two, but a very audacious move, and Palmer gets up into 8th place. And now he's got O'Shea right on his tail. And O'Shea certainly has the run as we head down Conrod Straight. O'Shea looking towards the inside for the chase. That gives Palmer the inside line into the second part of this corner. And Palmer just holding off O'Shea this time around. Gets on the overtake just to try and give himself a bit of a gap. A bit of a scrappy exit there out of Murray's corner. And he's just not managing to shake O'Shea at the moment. O'Shea hasn't used any of the overtakes so far, so he's looking in to have a bit of an advantage over Palmer at this stage in the race. All the while that does leave Trappett to take off on his own. And he's certainly building a bit of a gap on those harder tyres. And Breeder is into the pits. What's going on here? Can't get a good look. He's taken damage as well. And all the while I was following this battle. And Pitasso's now jumped into the lead, so he's showing plenty of pace early on. Certainly not known as a qualifier, and I was just talking about him showing pace, and he's into the wall at Griffiths Bend. And that hands the lead over to Von Duve. So possibly a bit of a commentator's curse there. Apologies to Pitasso. He's just talking up his move from 8th to 1st, and just as I was about to speak about it, he's stuffed it in the wall at Griffiths Bend. Very much in Paul Morris fashion. He's managed to keep himself going. It'll be interesting to see if he jumps into the pits this time around or whether he keeps going for another lap, because another lap gets you quarter race distance, fulfills that compulsory race length on one single tyre. I imagine he'll keep going just for another lap, put himself in a bit more of a better position in terms of the race strategy. As it hasn't greatly affected his pace at the moment. He's right on the back of Von Duve as we start lap number 10 of the race. Heading the quarter race distance here. It's Kosterok jumping into the pits. As he taken damage as well? No, it looks like he's just had enough of those soft tyres. Very much on the end of the yardstick there. So Shea's still trailing the back of Palmer. And this turned into a battle. Basically 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. Be interesting to see how it all pans out. O'Shea obviously on the soft tyres. So we've got O'Shea on the softs, Palmer on the mediums, Trappett on the hards. Breeder on the mediums as well. And Trappett right on the back of Calypso here for 4th place. So very interesting start to this race. I'd be curious to know everyone's thoughts. Who do you think's going to win this race? It is very much early days here. We've seen a number of cars get into the wall early on, so it'll be interesting to see who ends up taking the win from here. We've got a number of drivers on a bit of a recovery. Drivers Von Duve and Pitasso both enter pit lane. Calypso diving off into the pits. Oh, Palmer getting all sorts of sideways out of hell corner. And that's just allowing Trappett to open up a gap, and Palmer coming under heaps of pressure there from O'Shea. Von Duve coming out of the pits, he's picked up a 3-second penalty. So it's obviously crossed the pit entry line, I believe. Although it's just as easy to cross the pit exit line too. So Walker leading the way for WRT Motorsport. So we're 11 laps down. He's holding a 15-second lead. Looks like he's cruising along on those medium tyres. So Trappett sitting in second. Palmer, you can see, is on the overtake here. He's getting a run down into Griffiths Bend. And Palmer sweeps by into turn number 2, takes over second place. And instantly puts a gap on Trappett. So probably a crucial move there for Palmer at this point of the race. There's Trappett getting a bit wide there. And he's now coming under pressure from O'Shea. Everything just stabilising there a little bit. As Palmer jumped up the second, just gone about putting a little bit of a gap there on Trappett, making use of those softer tyres. He is now setting about chasing down Walker as he set the fastest lap of the race that time by. So I think the gap was around 15 seconds before he made the pass. It's now down to 13.5. So Shea and Trappett now engaged in a battle here. Which really isn't helping Trappett's cause. He has lost a second or two to Walker on the splits. have Breeder a little bit back in 5th place. Von Duve sitting in 6th. Just coming under a bit of attack here from Patasso. As you see, a kangaroo just sleeping in the background of the shot there. Hopefully one of those doesn't make their way onto the track in this race. Probably picked perfect time to go on board there. As Patasso lighting the wheels up out of Murray's corner. That just cost him a little bit of time there. So a bit of an onboard lap there with Patasso. He has dropped a bit of time there to Von Duve. Of course, Patasso's sitting on those hard tyres at the moment. Von Duve on the mediums. And Breeder also on the mediums at the moment. I think I missed O'Shea dropping off the screen. So he's made a pit stop in the last couple of laps. Must have taken some damage there at some point. Crucially fallen behind Oldman. So Walker finishing his 15th lap on this sets of mediums. Crossing over to start lap 16. I'm definitely intrigued here. He's actually starting to gap Palmer a bit. Palmer has actually jumped into the pits. So he's discarding those mediums. Well before Walker has. Certainly intrigued to see how this plays out for Walker. Certainly looks like he's aiming for a 2-stop strategy. Something that Palmer is well and truly past. He's already completed his 2nd stop. So Walker nearly 18 seconds in front of Trappett. Walker finally heading to pit lane. So Walker deciding 16 laps is enough for those medium tyres. Let's see what the plan is from here. I would nearly suggest that he goes for a second medium stint. Does another 16 laps and then bolts on the softs for 8 laps at the end. He's jumped onto the medium, so that looks like what his strategy is going to be this race. As he comes out just behind Von Duve and in front of Patasso. Patasso really struggling there on those hard tyres. He's certainly enjoying them about as much as Ferrari enjoys a set of hard tyres. I feel like this could be a crucial stint here for Walker. Might have to get a move on and just clear a few cars here. He is well and truly in contention for this race. You'd probably also put Patasso in that contention as well. I'd imagine that they are on similar two-stop strategies. Patasso just probably running the hards at the moment to try and stretch that out a bit, get himself back on track. And he's actually maintaining that gap to Trappett as well, so could be, well, he's actually closing it in a bit, so both of them on the hard tyres. I would suggest that maybe Trappett might be trying to get himself back onto a two-stop strategy as well. So it could be interesting to see how this plays out amongst, I'll say, the front 5 or 6 drivers. I feel like Palmer's probably just a bit out of it at this stage. Did chuck in some fast lap times, but that second stint didn't really, well, yeah, I'll call it the second stint, didn't really play out well for him. Probably used the tyre up a bit too much. Not sure what's happened to Trappett here. Has he made a bit of a mistake here, or is he just managing those tyres a bit more? It certainly looks like he's getting towards the end of that tyre set. Oh, Brader going wide there into Forest Elbow. That's compromised his exit. Now he's got Von Duve to worry about. So he pulls out of the draft, down Conrod Straight into the chase. And it looks like Von Duve's got that second place all sewn up for now. There's Bathurst and Walker side by side through the chase. Looked like Bathurst was forced into the grass there for a moment. I'm not sure really where to look at the moment as Von Duve now loses second to Brader. As Brader gets up the inside into Hell Corner. Von Duve looking for a move around the outside into Griffiths Bend. Gets the job done in similar fashion to Palmer earlier. Brader now coming under attack from Walker. Brader getting sideways, losing a bit of traction. Walker all over the back of him. But it's a bit one lane traffic across the top of the mountain here. It'll take an extremely brave driver to make a move here. And Walker just dropping back a bit. Von Duve's in the wall. He's lost control out of the Forest Elbow. Comes back on the track. Very close to spinning across the track. That would have put him in harm's way with Palmer. So a strong run there from Von Duve. Unfortunately, coming to a bit of an end there. He's very much in that battle for the top three podium places. And that damage is probably going to affect his race from here on in. Palmer closing the gap up. Punching in some fast laps at the moment. Just gone. The last 2 laps have been his 2 fastest laps of the race. It just keeps getting quicker and quicker. Another 10th up on the first sector this time around. He's really pushing hard to get himself back in the contention. Probably going for more of a free stop strategy, although probably in effect it is really a 4-stop strategy. He's certainly going to be pushing those tyres to the limits for the rest of the race. As he's got that gap down to within 10 seconds at the moment. And just off screen, it's Patasso up in the 3rd place ahead of Walker. I'd say that's probably in effect a move for position as Patasso now sweeps past Brader as well. Certainly not doing the greatest job holding on to this. Following the action here as Brader runs a little bit wide as he heads into the pits. So Patasso up in the 2nd place. Walker sitting in 3rd. It's a 3.7 gap between Patasso and Trappett. Patasso definitely in a better position with tyres, I believe. He's certainly making those hard tyres last a little bit better. Trappett very much towards the end of the life of the tyres. I'd say he needs to make at least one more pit stop. possibly even 2. Walker, on the other hand, very much looking after his tyres. It's very Sergio Perez-like at the moment. Those wear indicators very much full of the white coloured section, and the red wear markers certainly not showing as much as other drivers. He's very well keeping pace with the hard tyre runners of Bathurst and Trappett, and keeping the tyre wear down as well. And then a bit further back, Palmer's closed into the back of these front 3 cars. I did say a few laps ago that he might have taken himself out of contention with how aggressive he's been on those tyres, but at this point I would say he has put in a great stint here and has got himself within 4 seconds of Trappett and Bathurst. He has in effect made up that time that he lost in the pit stop, and very much brought himself back into contention with some fast laps. I think the last 4 or 5 laps have been his fastest 5 laps of the race as he goes around Walker there. He made a mistake through the chase, so Palmer up into the podium spots now as we enter lap 24, so 17 laps remaining in this one. And Palmer now firmly setting his sights on those 2 MSR Toyota powered cars that sit in front of him in first and second. And we've got 1, 2, 3 all separated by only nearly 1 second, with Walker just a bit further back. So this race really heating up at the moment. As Trappett now heads into pit lane. Let's see what the play is there from him. What tyres does he go with for the rest of the race? As Palmer down the inside of Patasso, down Mountain Straight into Griffiths Bend. Palmer now into the lead of the race. He's overcome that deficit from that extra pit stop and jumped into the lead, and I'd now say it probably is advantage Palmer, as he's made that move into the lead and instantly set about building a gap. What tyres has Trappett come out on? He's come out on medium tyres. So the interesting thing here will be, what does Trappett do from here? Is he going to aim to look after those tyres? If I was Trappett, I would be getting on the overtake as much as possible, trying to use it while you're not in the lead of the race. And try and reduce that gap to Palmer and maybe get yourself in the race lead. As Palmer's certainly setting about building a gap. So Trappett sitting 23 seconds back. You would say this is probably the moment where he needs some fast laps. You'd expect Palmer will be heading into the pits one more time. You'd expect Pitarso needs to pit again. Or at the very least he's going to be a sitting duck towards the end of the race. Palmer's still setting some fast times, extending that gap out over Pitarso. As it's now out to a 4-second gap between those two cars. Walker further 2 seconds back, sitting in third. I imagine all the first 4 cars, I imagine, will all have to make another pit stop here. And Trappett certainly looks to be falling back a bit. Certainly not using the advantage of those fresh tyres to gain time back on Palmer. Well, as I say that, he has gained a bunch of time there. You can sort of see some evidence of Palmer using the controller, of how he catches that slide exiting the corner. Tarso, those tyres are getting a bit more worn out. Curious to see what they go with for the final pit stop. I'd imagine those hard tyres aren't going to the end of the race for Pitarso. Walker very much closing in now. That tyre saving he's done. You can see Walker probably gone to about lap 32, maybe bolting those soft tyres on for an 8-lap sprint at the end. Is Picasso really struggling there? I'd very much expect him to be heading to the pits shortly. So the one I definitely want to keep an eye on. So Trappett now down to 21 seconds over Palmer. So he has started to bring that gap in. So Palmer heading around for another lap. So this time by it'll be lap 30, 11 laps remaining. Tarso heading around again for another lap. Imagine these guys will be looking to make some pit stops soon. O'Shea into the pits. So O'Shea will be the first to blink with a pit stop. Outside of Trappett, of course. Trappett, 20-second gap now. So O'Shea out in 5th place. 18 seconds back on Trappett. 16 seconds further back is Von Duve, sitting in 6th place. So the WTC racing cars sitting in 6th and 7th with Von Duve and Ando. Harcourt dropping down to 11th now. He was sitting inside the top 8. So Harcourt coming out in 12th. Brader in 13th. So a lonely race for them. Palmer now jumping into the pits. What tyre does he go with? He comes out behind Trappett, so 2-second gap for Trappett over Palmer. Palmer on the soft tyres is going to have the grip advantage in this final stint. So 2-second gap between Palmer and Trappett. Only 4 tenths between Walker and Pitasso for the lead of the race. So heading towards 10 to go. Walker heading to the pit, same with Pitasso. So both drivers into the pits for their final stop. Looked like a late call there from Pitasso to jump in. It was almost reactionary to what Walker was doing. So both Pitasso and Walker out on the soft tyres. It looks like this will be the battle for the podium spot. Meanwhile, the race is on for the win here. So we've got 9 laps to go. Palmer 8 tenths of a second away from Trappett. So I guess, as Pitasso and Palmer would say in the F2 commentary, it's time to place those bets with the Monopoly money. Who has everyone got their Monopoly money on to take the race win? Palmer looking to the outside at the chase. Used a little bit of overtake there to try and make the move. Certainly weaving around, trying to get the job done on Trappett. Bit of a slower exit there from Trappett. Palmer looking to the outside. Time is almost irrelevant now. As Palmer makes a move on Trappett, sweeps into the lead. And now it's going to be up to Palmer to just build that gap through the next few corners. He certainly doesn't have the overtake compared to Trappett. Trappett might be able to come back at him. But Palmer out to a second lead already. As we head across the skyline through the S's, it's going to be crucial for Palmer to build that gap, as Trappett now has the overtake to use. And you can bet that he's going to use every bit of it towards the end of this race to try and take the lead back. Oh, Trappett's got some damage, so that's going to compromise his straight line speed. He's still using as much of that overtake as possible, trying to keep himself in this race. So this is probably the section of the track where Palmer's going to have to build up a gap as much as possible. It's where the handling of his car will be much superior to that of Trappett's. Meanwhile, Trappett will just have to use as much of that overtake as he can, try and keep himself within touching distance, hope that he can get close enough to make a move down the straight as he just makes a little bit more contact again. Exiting the dipper. He's still just staying close enough. Palmer certainly doing just enough to hang on. And Trappett's gone off. He's off into the grass. And he's called time there, so he's jumped into the pits. So you would imagine that that's the end of his challenge. And Trappett heads to pit lane. He'll be making repairs, probably a tyre change as well. And that has now just put Palmer in the prime position to take the win here in the Australian Grand Prix. So Trappett coming out in 5th place. 12 seconds back on O'Shea. And certainly an anticlimactic conclusion. It's definitely looking forward to a great battle between Trappett and Palmer in those closing laps. But O'Shea now hunting down Walker for that 3rd place, final spot on the podium. He's very much pushing hard for that spot. It would certainly be a well-deserved result for Walker, but I don't think it's going to be. It's certainly not going to be on the podium at this stage. Especially as O'Shea just made the move past into 3rd place. So Walker still has all of his overtakes, surprisingly. I wonder if he has the button keyed up. Maybe there's an issue with his steering wheel. It hasn't allowed him to use the overtake, but that is impressive that he's managed to end up in that position without even using the overtake all race. And he's certainly not going away in this battle with O'Shea. So the gap between Palmer and Pitasso out to 9 seconds. Pitasso, damage of his own. It looks like Pitasso carrying on. He's certainly sitting comfortable there in 2nd place. Definitely looks to be cruising around, lapping at a good pace. And in that case, there's definitely not a need to jump into pit lane. So O'Shea holding on to 3rd place here. Just being shadowed by Walker. Walker looked like he got into the wall. Might just be a bit of network issues. Playing a bit of tricks on us here. He's brought that gap down to under half a second. Of course, under 5 laps to go, no more safety cars, just as guys and mentions in the comment section. So we're now actually at 4 laps to go, probably free now, nearly free, as Palmer heads around Murray's corner for the 37th time in this race. He now crosses over, 3 laps to go, 10-second lead for Palmer. Drafted in at the last minute as a reserve driver. Blackman unfortunately feeling unwell. We hope he's feeling better soon and we can see him back in action. We'll run through the order a bit. Of course we know Palmer, Patasso, O'Shea, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, Walker in 4th, Trappett in 5th. Bit more of a quiet race here for Von Duve and Nando. Von Duve, of course, having that incident at the elbow. Nando getting into his own incident as well earlier on. So WTC racing car sitting 6th and 7th. Good little point tool there for the new team on the block. And they'll probably hold on to 2nd place in the standings. Calypso sitting in a nice 8th place. Certainly the Belgian putting in a great effort here in the Australian Grand Prix, up against an onslaught of Australians who I'd say majority of them all love this track. So he's certainly put in an impressive performance there to sit in 8th place. Harcourt sitting in 9th. Just a second and a half back from Calypso. He's the meat in an nicer esports sandwich there. With Kosterok rounding out the top 10. Just a couple of seconds further back. He'd be very keen to make up an extra spot here in the closing laps if he could. And we go to 11th place. It's Campbell, the American. Probably the first car a lap down, just pulling off to the side to let his teammate O'Shea past. And of course Walker as well. In 12th place it's Breda. He started on pole, hasn't really had the race pace though. He's only been in the pits a few laps ago. And then Oldman running out the field in 13th. Looks like he's a couple of laps down. Palmer's still out to a 12.5 second lead as he heads towards starting the final lap. Probably the closest battle on track at the moment between O'Shea and Walker. Oh, that's just dropped out to 1.3 seconds and growing. Very much possibility that Walker could be tight on fuel here. That could be the explanation between his pace dropping off down Conrod Straight. So we head on to the final lap. Doesn't look like Walker quite has enough to get a move done. That said, if he used the overtake that was available to him, that could be a different story. Someone's off the track there. That's Oldman, parked on the run up to the cutting. So Palmer making the run down to Forest Elbow for the last time. Last minute replacement, first appearance for the season in the 2023 Formula Trackstar Series. Very much taking on the Formula 2 Series this season. Aiming for a result there, was stepping back from the Formula Racing and making the Touring Car Series his focus a bit later on in the year. He might be regretting this move at the moment though, as he heads to Murray's Corner for the last time, rounds the final corner, and it's going to be Palmer who takes the win in the Australian Grand Prix. With a brilliant comeback drive from the early damage. He'll claim the win, looks like by nearly 16 seconds. It's going to be over 16 seconds by the looks of things. Bathurst comes across the line for second. A bit of front wing damage there. And O'Shea rounding out the podium spot in third place. And in the end it was just 0.4 of a second between himself and Walker, who just narrowly misses out on what would have been a well-deserved podium finish in 4th place. Trappett crossing the line in 5th place, so his winning streak comes to an end. After winning the first 3 races of the championship. He was certainly putting the pressure on Palmer there towards the end, but just a mistake on his end cost him dearly and dropped him down to 5th place. Ando making the jump over his teammate Von Duve to take 6th place. And then Harcourt coming around. So it'll be Harcourt taking 8th. Costa Rock looks like he could be out of fuel here. Maybe just going for a bit of a form finish. So Costa Rock and Calypso in 9th and 10th. And then it's Campbell in 11th, Brader in 12th, Albin in 13th. And then we finally have Lansdell in the safety car coming around to finish off his race. So there we go, 40 laps of Bathurst for the Australian Grand Prix. All done and dusted. And a very entertaining race in the end, as we had a number of cars jumping up and down the order across the race. In the end it was Palmer for It's Racing Esports taking the win. Patasso coming home in 2nd place. Then we had O'Shea, Walker, Trappett, Ando, Von Duve and Harcourt rounding out your top 8 on the first page of the screen. And then jumping across to the 2nd page, it's Costa Rock in 9th, Calypso rounding out top 10, so 2 Isla Esports cars in the top 10. And then rounding out the rest of the field, a lap down it's Campbell, Brader, and then 2 laps down it's Oldman. So there you have it. Australian Grand Prix done and dusted for another year. Of course, a thrilling race here again at Bathurst, and certainly an event that was well received by all drivers. So a big congratulations to Palmer on taking the win, and of course to Patasso and O'Shea on their places as well. But for now, from myself, Jarvan Dallets, big thank you for joining us tonight. Make sure you subscribe and follow along all the action as we keep coming along with more races for the rest of the season. Trying to remember, I think next week is over to Croatia for Dragon Trail Seaside, and that'll be the Formula 2 and Formula 3 series in action. And then we head into a mid-season break as we take a week off for the Formula 1 Australian Grand Prix, and then another week off as well for Easter as well. We imagine a few people will be taking a break. So thanks for tuning